Reading slumps are the absolute worst. They're the worst. People have lots of advice on how to get out of them, what to do, but here are my 5 things that I recommend if you find yourself, like me recently, in a reading slump. Hey everyone, my name's Amanda and I'm the Fun Size Reader. And if you've been following along my channel recently, you have probably realized I am in a huge reading slump. Huge. I go through these phases every so often, and I knew this one was coming. Like I could feel it. It hit me hard, and I just have not been able to read. So I took a little bit of a YouTube break last week. I kind of tried to read some things, tried to follow my own advice. I wanted to compile a list of 5 things that you can do if you find yourself, like me, in a reading slump. The first thing that you can do is reread something you love. Oftentimes, people who are mood readers who find themselves in a reading slump are kind of afraid to start the next book because they just don't know if they're gonna like it. Your mood kind of works that way, right? So at least for me, I have been starting and putting down very many books in this slump. I start to read it and I'm just like, this isn't what I want right now. This isn't hitting. And it's not that I'm going to DNF the book. It's just not right now. I'm not reading it right now. It's an NRN, not a DNF. So this is the most common recommendation that I get from people when they hear I'm in a slump. It's, reread something that you love. This works for so many people. Okay, so many people. You don't know how many people I know that reread Sarah J. Maas when they are in a reading slump because it gives them that feeling that they're looking for, that feeling that they are afraid they're not going to find in another book, or they aren't getting from the very beginning of starting a bunch of different other books. This tip does not work for me, okay? It works for so many people. I was literally just talking to one of my friends. She was in a slump also and rereading one of her favorite books of all time. It doesn't work for me. Reading something that I already know the ending to, or I know the twists, I know the turns, it doesn't give me that break in like what I want out of my mood. I personally do not follow this rule, but whenever you ask somebody, what should I do to get out of a slump? This is like the most common recommendation that people have. So if it works for you, definitely do it. Do it because that will help you get past and just keep you reading and keep you escaping reality if that's what you read for. But if it doesn't work for you, let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is try a different genre. Sometimes when I am in a slump, I know that certain genres aren't working for me. I typically, if you have been here, typically read fantasy, romance, and contemporary romance. And sometimes I am not in a contemporary romance mood at all. It just all feels the same and I can't get into anything. And then other times I am not in a fantasy romance mood at all. I just cannot read a fantasy book. So when that happens, I tend to switch it up. This tip did work for me this time. I am in a non-fantasy mood right now. I know. It's like a knife to the chest. Like, it's so hard. But I am in a non-fantasy mood right now. So what did I do in order to try to keep reading, to try to at least break the slump and actually get some books under my belt this month? I switched to contemporary romance mostly. And I was able to read 3 books. Is it up to what I normally read, the amount that I normally read? No, not at all. It's still slower, but I was actually able to dive into, and finish books. Now, I started quite a few fantasy romance books, and I'm like, these are going to be good. But I know right now my brain is not in the mood for it. So I'm just like, off on the shelf, just wait for me. I'll be back for you. But this also works if you're looking for just a completely different genre in general. I read a lot of new adult or adult fantasy. I used to read a ton of YA fantasy. So sometimes even flipping the age grouping is changing the genre enough. So if you read a ton of YA fantasy, maybe switch to older, new adult or adult fantasy. And same vice versa. If you read a ton of adult and new adult, switch to YA. Give your brain just kind of something different. Number 3 is try a book that is super popular. Like I said, with the mood reading, a lot of times It's because you just don't know if you're going to like something. Giving a less well-known book a chance might not be the best strategy. Dive into something that has raving reviews, has tons of people reading it, is kind of trending, right? I did this. I was very disappointed that I did not like the book and I actually ended up DNFing it. I'm not kidding. It had like 20,000 reviews and really high average star rating. And I was like, this is going to break my slump. This is going to get me out of it. And it didn't at all. But this does typically work for me. If I read something that so many people are liking that I'm constantly seeing around, it gets me excited. It makes me know that I am going to like the book because so many other people who have the same taste as me also like the book. But that one is kind of a hit or miss. It obviously didn't work for me this time, but it has worked to break my slumps in the past. Number 4 is read a different media. If you always read physical books, try an ebook. Try an audiobook. If you always read ebooks or audiobooks, try a physical book. Do something to switch up what you are constantly consuming because sometimes we just get bored. We just get bored of the same experience over and over again, even if the book itself is not the same experience. Obviously, like the plot is different, right? But read on a different media. Along the lines of breaking something up, if you're in the middle of a series and you're finding yourself hitting a slump, hitting a slope, stop the series and go try something different. Break up that monotony. Sometimes just having a different way of processing the information, processing the words will bring you out of that and get you back into reading. And then you can always switch back to your preferred mode of reading whenever, just to break up that monotony, what our brain is used to, give us something different. Oftentimes I find myself doing this with TV. If I get into a reading slump, I tend to watch a lot of TV because my brain is like, I still want to consume the stories and I still watch romances. I still, crave that. That's the story that I want to consume, but I just need to do it in a different way. Changing the media of how you consume the story is definitely a way to kickstart your brain. And number 5, just go with it. Just go with the slump. It's okay to be in a slump. It is okay. I know we all want to break it, but sometimes that's our brain, our mind, our body telling us that what we're doing right now is not working. It's not what we need. Go do something else. Go pick up a different hobby. Go try another one of your old hobbies. Like go do something else. Reading will always be there for you. It's not a competition. You don't have to make sure you read a certain number of books a year. Yeah, we all want to finish our Goodreads goals. Like that's fine. Totally understandable. If it's taking the joy out of it for you, that's what we read for. If you're in a slump because your brain, your body, your mind, everything is craving something else, just go with it. Do it. Go bake. That's what I've been doing. I've been baking and it's been really fun. I feel like I've gotten better at learning certain things and I've tried new recipes and stuff. So it's been fun to just do something different. And it has helped me when I'm like, okay, I'm tired. I was in the kitchen all evening. Now I'm going to sit and read a little romance. And I was able to do that. Break that up, go with the slope, go with the slump and just ride it out until it's done. It will be done. It will, definitely. And once you kind of get that inkling to want to read again, go back to my other rules. Maybe there's a different genre. Maybe there's a popular book that has started to come up. Maybe there's something else that you want to do. And if all else fails, bake banana bread because that's what I did. And I have a really amazing recipe for the best banana bread ever. So if you want it, let me know and I'll put it in the description. Slumps are normal. We all go through reading slumps. I go through them all the time. I go through them all with you guys. You guys hear about them all the time. They're normal. And it sucks to be in them because this is something that we enjoy and we do for fun. But it happens. It's part of reading. Hopefully these tips will help you get out of your slump. If you have any others that I didn't mention here that have helped you, let me know because I'm always looking for new tips and new ways to break me out of my slump. I haven't completely broken out of my slump yet. I haven't. I'll be honest with you guys. Reading the book club book is going to be very, very hard for next week. So Fingers crossed I will finish it. I haven't even started it yet, but hopefully I will have it done by the time the book club hits. But just be kind to yourself. Have a little grace with yourself. It is okay to go through these slumps, but hopefully we can come out of them together. Thanks for chatting today. Glad to see you all around. Hopefully we're breaking those slumps together. Don't forget, you can find me on all of the social media, and I'll see you guys next time.